Real Country 1430 AM and 107.3 FM WRDN. I'm Brian Winnikins. We are at the 75th Annual NAFB Convention in Kansas City. Thank you to our broadcast sponsors, including the Animal Wellness Center of Buffalo Valley, Mycogen Seeds, Matt Carls, your representative serving Northwest Wisconsin, Annabis Silo, and the Wisconsin Farmers Union. Speaking of Farmers Union, we're with Rob Larew. He's Vice President for Policy with NFU, and well, there's a lot of stuff to talk about here at the convention. And Rob, thanks for joining us. And obviously, the first big thing is the midterms. Sure. There's going to be some changes coming in January.
Absolutely. I think in the short term, obviously with the lame duck, I don't think we're going to see much effect of the midterms on getting, say, a farm bill done. But certainly come January, there will be a new Congress. There will be some familiar faces, right? The House Agriculture, I don't expect to change dramatically, but there will be some new members coming on board, some new energy, and obviously a change in the party. But this is the same crew in place, the same leadership that passed the 2008 Farm Bill. So I think in terms of family farmer priorities, it's going to be a good thing.
You mentioned the current farm bill. Do you think, from what your sources are telling you, we'll get a new farm bill before the lame duck's over, or are we starting over?
I certainly think everybody involved right now is so close they can almost taste it. They really want this farm bill done. So I think that there's a lot of energy there to focus on that and try to resolve the differences that remain and get it done.
With so many new members coming in, especially on the House side, obviously, and some of them, they think that, chocolate milk comes from a brown cow and you pump the tail to get the milk. So is there a lot of work that National Farmers Union is going to be trying to do to reach out to these new members?
Well, we're going to be doing everything we can, continuing very much focused on the grassroots effort. Wisconsin Farmers Union in particular has done a fantastic job of really trying to drive home that message right now of all the pressure that's going on at the dairy level. And I think as long as we continue that pressure across the country, particularly in dairy areas, we have a lot of new education to do for new members. But the story is an important one, and we need to get it out there.
We are talking with Rob Larew. He is Vice President of Policy for National Farmers Union here at the 75th Annual NAFB Convention. Rob, obviously trade issues are going to be another big issue, and with a new Congress, is that just going to be another piece of uncertainty here as this moves forward?
Well, a lot of the trade challenges we have right now, quite frankly, have been kind of started down on Pennsylvania Avenue at the White House. And so I don't know that we'll see a lot of dramatic change there. But in terms of oversight, in terms of a review, more serious review of, say, the USMCA, the new NAFTA, I think that will certainly happen. And on the ag front, we just need to kind of all of this uncertainty on the trade front is just keeping that pressure up that's making farm economy really suffer.
Meanwhile, USDA has been, Secretary Perdue has talked about moving some portions of USDA out of Washington, D.C. It's kind of received a little bit of blowback from both sides of the aisle, hasn't it?
Certainly has, and that's probably one of the more substantial changes that we're going to see is with a change in party where you have one party in power in one branch of the legislative branch, for example, and down at USDA, you're likely to see more review, a little bit of a slowdown on the proposals that are going out there. So whether it's moving agencies around the country, whether it's eliminating agencies, all those things are likely to get a much more serious review, and we think that's probably a good thing for everybody.
And finally, obviously, with the low commodity prices, there's so many different issues, but there's, farmers are trying to make these springtime decisions. What is NFU going to be doing to just pass that information along to the Capitol Hill and also Pennsylvania Avenue to the White House about all of, like you've said, this uncertainty is really kind of going to mess up spring planting decisions here?
Well, I think farmers do best in terms of delivering that message when they tell their very personal stories, right? What are those struggles? What is that conversation around the kitchen table about trying to figure out how they're going to get that money for financing for the spring? For dairy farmers, it's an everyday situation, right? Which bills are we going to be able to pay? Are we going to be able to keep the cows? All those things, as long as those stories are getting out, getting told to their local representatives and then on up the chain, I think that's the best that we can do to make sure that folks really understand the pressure.
That is Rob Larew. He's Vice President of Policy with the National Farmers Union. We're at the 75th Annual NAFB Convention in Kansas City. I'm Brian Winnikins for Real Country 1430 AM and 107.3 FM WRDN.